This is Locked On Bets, the daily betting show that means business from the Locked On Podcast Network. Hosted by Lee Sterling and Kevin Rogers, they're dropping fearless picks with an inside edge to put money in your pocket. If there's action, they've got the lock. This is where smart bets start. It's Locked On Bets.
Welcome to the Thursday edition of Locked On Bets. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports with you, and a very busy show today. A lot going on. You have not only one, but you have two playoff games in Major League Baseball. Toronto woke up from the dead last night as they came back and pounded Seattle. So now that's a series out there in the ALCS with the Mariners up 2-1. Dodgers and Brewers resume out in LA with LA up 2-0. Also, you have NFL back tonight, Bengals Steelers. We will break that one down coming up, and a couple plays from the NHL. So, busy show. Let's get right to it, Lee, with our first hidden gem.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
Dodgers won the first two in Milwaukee of the NLCS. Now things shifting out west for Game 3 tonight at Dodger Stadium. And Tyler Glass now getting the start for LA. For Milwaukee, who knows who's going to start, since these teams sometimes are like, I'm not too sure. Wait till the day of to announce in one of our biggest games of the season, but that's fine. So Shohei Ohtani's had his struggles in the postseason, Lee, at the plate. You think he could turn around here back at home in Game 3?
All right, so if there's one thing I've criticized the Dodgers offense for this offseason, is Shohei Ohtani. Been pretty bad at the plate. 2 for 25 last 6 games here. And also been striking out a lot. That's not a good sign. But he did rack up a hit in Game 2 of this series. And I think it's a pretty good buy low here spot on him. So he's been a much better hitter here this season and during the postseason career when he's playing at home. He did take batting practice yesterday on the field at Dodger Stadium for the first time all season, I'm hearing. And I'm hearing that his teammates and his coaches were out there cheering him on, also making fun of him. So he knows he needs to fix something here. It's time to step up here. I don't think the coaches are too worried about this guy. He's the driving force on this team, and going to get plenty of chances tonight, probably at least 5 shots here. So when you bat leadoff, love guys that drive the ball, doubles, home runs here. You know, what we've seen, once a guy's been cold, usually in postseason, when you start talking about it enough, that's the game here where he breaks out here. So we're going to go with Shohei Ohtani over 1.5 bases, -120. Yep, tonight it's my hidden gem.
So interestingly, how the Dodgers have their issues at times in the regular season. You wonder, okay, when are you going to get it together? When are you going to get it together? And then they do this in the postseason with their MVP basically doing nothing at the plate.
Yep.
It's crazy.
That's the way it is.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about Toronto, yesterday. They can't get anything going. What do? Double-digit runs they scored. So, these games, just when you think you figured it out and you think you can guess what's going on, the exact opposite usually happens.
So for the third time in the LCS round, we've seen a team hit a home run in the first inning and then lose. And those are all 3 home teams. You get the crowd into it, and then it doesn't matter. Toronto did nothing in Game 1 after the George Springer homer. Milwaukee did nothing after Churio homer early. And then Julio Rodriguez goes deep last night. You figure, oh, man, this place is on fire now. Seattle's going to go 3 games done. Toronto explodes. So I guess we'll transition now into our picks from last night. And George Kirby, who got the start on the mound for the Mariners, he looked all right for a little bit, but then the Blue Jays offense exploded, and unfortunately he couldn't get over a strikeout prop.
Boy, he was when he was putting the ball over the plate early, they were taking shots on him early, not going deep in the count, made solid contact. So he's been either very good or very bad. Just strange that the first 2 innings he looked so good and then just got beaten to shreds. So not good. That series, I could see that series going 7 games.
Yeah, and right now, Toronto's still alive. They turned to Max Scherzer. He's had his issues in the postseason. Last few years, he's 41. We'll see who's got left in the tank this evening when Toronto faces Seattle, also Milwaukee and LA. They continue that series. In college football last night, Sam Houston State, they fall at home to UTEP in a battle of the Titans, and unfortunately the Bearcats just couldn't slow down the Miners' lead. Didn't see that one coming.
Nope, didn't. I mean, we were right there. We scored the first touchdown. I'm thinking, oh, everything looks great. And sure enough, not so fast. And they also replaced the quarterback at halftime. Don't understand that too much, but they suffered from not being able to tackle. So that's a bad trait to have as a defense. So I thought at home might be a good spot there. UTEP had looked terrible, horrible the last game, but they played their game of the season. Unfortunately, midweek games have been pretty tough, but we'll see if I can rebound tonight in the NFL.
Yeah, I'll tell you this, too. I know we didn't have the pick on here, but that line in the Delaware-Jacksonville State game was very odd, considering Delaware, their first year in FBS, and Jacksonville State, who's been really good in Conference USA. I know Rich Rod's gone now, but they've been a really good team, and they were getting points at home. They have the top running back in the country, and they just destroyed Delaware out of the gate. That line made no sense to them being a home underdog.
Yep. Delaware is one of these teams. They move well between the 20s. They just can't seem to do much after that. So, well-coached team, just one of these things that they're going to have to, you gotta take some lumps when you join Division I football. And certainly the Blue Hens are doing it right now.
Now, the other two games we had, 1-0-1 in the NHL. You hit on the Buffalo Sabres and 8 goals last night. They finally got things going, their first win of the season. Talk about the Senators. Brady Tkachuk is out for about a month, and Ottawa's kind of a banged-up team right now. But you took advantage of Buffalo and finally broke out last night.
Broke out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a season of goals. Eight goals. You're not going to see that too often. Only one was an empty net. So had that for our clients too. Pretty heavy play. So that was just a great spot. You can't play 3-4 games every single day in all these sports. If you do, you're gonna have a tough time. So that was the only play we put out. So we were very, very judicious in what we put out sometimes, and sometimes one play is the best play. It's a lot easier to win one game than to go 2 out of 3 or win all 3. So sometimes the best plays are the plays that you don't make.
And we did push on the Blackhawks first period against the Blues. Chicago led 1-0. St. Louis tied it. They led 2-1, and then St. Louis tied it later. Chicago ended up winning the game, but I did think that Chicago would come out and after St. Louis won the 2 road games and they'd play well in the first. They did, just they couldn't stop St. Louis. And the Blackhawks won the game. But again, we talk about this, Lee, when you take the first period, sometimes that happens. It goes both ways, that you could lead after the first, lose the game, or you could tie the first and then end up winning the game.
Yeah. I mean, just happens sometimes. So once we see a little more variance and see a few more games, I think we're going to start really hitting on these games. And, hockey is one of these games. You can put a lot of shots on goal and they just don't go in. So the key is, in the long run, usually the more shots, the more, the better the shots are, you're going to go in. So I think eventually things will really start turning around for us there and we'll get on a roll.
Yeah, but at least the good thing is so far through the first week, it's got some good feel on these games. And like you've said before, too, which is so true, in football is one thing where you're playing once a week, where these teams are so many games. You got to find the spots. I mean, I feel the same way in football. You got to find the spots. But, there are these games under the radar. You have a lot of games in the NHL tonight. We have a couple of them coming up that just find that spot. If a team maybe played great the other night, maybe they'll have a letdown, or the opposite. They played terrible, that they'll probably step up tonight. So that's what we're going to look for in a couple of these games coming up. Also, Steelers Bengals we're going to break down, and that will kick off week 7 of the NFL. A lot of big storylines in that game. So we will talk about that coming up in just a bit. Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco throwing it down. So you have Aaron Rodgers, Joe Flacco, and Max Scherzer all taking center stage tonight. All these old guys coming back, Lee. They're trying to just show they have a little bit left in the tank before it's all over.
They're early 40s. They're not mid 40s like Tom Brady. So, they still probably have a couple years. So, what we're finding out is the arm is one of the last things to go. Maybe your legs go, little bit first your speed, and not like any of these guys are speed demons, but Max Scherzer, he's not gonna be able to overwhelm people. He's gonna have to use his off-speed stuff and hit spots. Hopefully be like Maddox used to in his prime for the Braves, but smart guy. And then, Joe Flacco in the second half looked great last week, and Aaron Rodgers looked pretty darn good too. So who knows? That's what makes sports so interesting, and got some crafty veterans going to the hill and playing quarterback tonight.
A couple of former Jets playing in that game, Flacco and Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Bet you they probably want one of them right now as opposed to their situation going on. Coming up, we're going to talk about the two NHL games and the AFC North battle in Cincinnati. All of that is straight ahead. You are listening to Locked On Bets. Let's talk now about FanDuel. That's right. We mention them every day, and for good reason. Why? Because the NFL season is underway, and FanDuel is an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. And what can you bet on? A lot of things. Steelers, Bengals tonight in Cincinnati. Steelers are road favorite. You can lay the points with Pittsburgh. You could take the points with Cincinnati. You could moneyline Cincinnati. Get a nice return there if they can find a way to win. Also, all of the player props. Aaron Rodgers, you want to look at him for his passing yards, maybe touchdown props. Also, Jamar Chase, what he can do. He's the fifth leading receiver in the NFL right now as far as yards go. What he can do against this Pittsburgh defense. Also, futures you could bet on FanDuel. MVP, Patrick Mahomes of the Chiefs. He is the favorite right now to win that award. The Chiefs, after they have come back to life, they and the Bills are the Super Bowl favorites at FanDuel. Also, you can look at AFC champion, NFC champion. So much from the NFL also. College football, Major League Baseball playoffs, NBA starts next week, NHL underway. So much going on at FanDuel. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. We continue here with Locked On Bets on a Thursday. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. Already one hidden gem, Lee. So let's do it again. Put on that mining helmet. Time for another hidden gem.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
We're going to look at a late night game tonight in the NHL. I love the first periods, and we're going to go with the Penguins and the Kings under first period, and that's about minus 105. You can get that at, so it's a pretty good price there. Now, Pittsburgh continuing their California road trip. They just lost to Anaheim on Tuesday, 4-3. That was 2-2 after one, and prior to that, the Penguins had scored two first period goals in the first three games combined. So I don't think that'll be the case here with LA. The Kings are back at home after a road trip, which they held off Vegas and lost the final two against Winnipeg and Minnesota. They've been shut out three times in the first period in four games this year, including against Colorado in the opener. I was scoreless through one. And I just think that this will be a tight game early on. LA, one of the best first period teams last year in the NHL. They did a great job of keeping teams off the scoreboard. Granted, didn't really work against Minnesota a few nights ago. But I think here, back at home, we're going to see a tighter first period. So let's take the under in the first period between LA and Pittsburgh tonight, Lee, as our second hidden gem.
Yeah, these two teams, you would think normally are high-scoring teams, but this might be the right call here. Might take them a period to get loosened up. So I like it. Let's hit it. And then I can get back to football and Major League Baseball.
You got all of it. See, it's a busy night. And now we stay in the NHL. And we're going to go now to our lock of the day.
Open it. Lee has the key to the lock of the day.
Oilers continuing their Eastern road swing. They just shut out the Rangers a few nights ago. Who hasn't shut out the Rangers, right? Edmonton, a 2-0 winner. They now make the long trip from Manhattan to Long Island as they will face the Islanders tonight. A couple teams in the 80s, they dominated the NHL. Not so much recently. I know Edmonton's been to the Stanley Cup final. They haven't won the Stanley Cup final. So what do you have, Lee, with this one tonight? The Islanders trying to get back on track, and Edmonton off the win the other night over the Rangers.
All right. I know this is going to shock you, but for the first time in a while, I think this season is where you're going to do well fading the New York Islanders defense and goaltending. So this has always been a well-structured and low-scoring team that wins games when they win 3-2, 2-1. But this year they've given up 13 goals so far in 3 games. They have an 18-year-old first overall pick, Matthew Schaefer, playing on their first defensive pairing here. And they have a 33-year-old David Rittich making his first Islanders debut tonight. Rittich is just a backup at this point in his career as well. He had a save percentage last year of just .886 with the LA Kings. And, I just don't see him keeping the Oilers here from 3 to 4 goals minimum with Connor McDavid and his teammates. They just have so many snipers on the ice. So I think we're going to see a lot of action also on special teams as well. The Oilers have always had a really strong power play. Panthers, we're Panthers fans, and you do the broadcast. I mean, when they get on the power play, you hold your breath here. Also, the Islanders' man advantage looks much better this year. So both teams have had leaky penalty kills this season, and with the speed around the ice, I think there's going to be plenty of opportunities throughout this game. I see this as like a 5-3, 5-4 game here. Total is only 6, minus 110. Yeah, we're going to go over 6 goals here in the New York Islanders and Edmonton Oilers game. It's going to be a level 1 lock.
It's interestingly with what Edmonton has done. You talk about all the scores, McDavid, Draisaitl, and just how loaded they are, that they've only scored 5 goals the last 2 games, and they faced Shesterkin in the last one. So now you go from Shesterkin to facing a backup. So it's really an opportunity here for Edmonton on this long road trip. They go to Detroit. They go to New Jersey, Detroit, and Ottawa after this. They still have a long way to go. You're waiting to see if they bust out, and if tonight is the night for them to do that. The Islanders, they've just been a complete both New York teams, all 3 of them. I mean, throw them all in a pot together. The Rangers, the Islanders, and Sabres have all been terrible so far out of the gate. And it's funny, the one team that's really been the exploding force was Buffalo last night in their victory over Ottawa. And if you look back at it, Lee, I just got to put this number out there. I know it's like 1 game, it's unfair, but the Rangers have not scored a goal at home this season, and Buffalo scored 8 goals at home last night by themselves. Right. So, that happens sometimes. They need to fix the hockey there in New York. Coming up, we will take a look at the Thursday night game. Bengals and the Steelers, very intriguing on so many levels. Pittsburgh atop the AFC North. They're kind of running away with it right now with the way things have gone with injuries in the division. But now Cincinnati, their opportunity to maybe grab one at home. We're going to talk about that coming up. You are listening to Locked On Bets. Locked On Bets continues here on a Thursday. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports with you. So now it's time for the NFL. It's back. Week 7, Steelers and the Bengals. We were expecting Aaron Rodgers and Joe Burrow tonight. Instead, you got Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco tonight. So that's what everyone was hoping for. But maybe the Bengals can pull one out. It's time now for Wrong Team Favorite.
What the
WTF.
I think we saw, Lee, with Jake Browning that he wasn't going to be the guy. When Joe Burrow got hurt, you thought maybe Jake Browning can step in, save some face. It just didn't work out. And, yeah, they came back and beat Jacksonville in week 2, but that was it. And you have an elite receiver in Jamar Chase. You have another very good receiver in T. Higgins. Not much of a running game. But now you would think this could be the time, desperation, getting Joe Flacco. Maybe he will get the offense going. And Pittsburgh, coming off of a home win over Cleveland last week. What do you like here? Steelers are favored about 5.5 over the Bengals on the road.
All right, so my big play over the entire weekend last weekend was the Pittsburgh Steelers. Had Cleveland, watched that game a couple weeks ago when they were playing Pittsburgh, and I'm like, wow, not doing much here. Also watched Cleveland when they played Green Bay. Flacco didn't do much in that game. But sometimes when you're watching a game and you're like, wow, I see something in this game, and I think it's going to make a big difference. So I'm watching the Cincinnati game, and I'm like, wow, they're just doing nothing in the first half. They got a 40-year-old quarterback in there, Joe Flacco, doesn't know the system, not moving the ball, nothing. And then what happens? All of a sudden, in the second half, I think the team started believing in them. Offensive line's not good, but guys that were throwing lookout blocks, I mean, just watching guys go by him and hit the quarterback, I just think they didn't believe in Jake Browning. So sometimes it's not the talent, it's how you go about your day and if your team believes in you. And I think that his steadying voice and, the way he goes about himself, they all of a sudden at halftime said, you know what, this is the guy here. And the second half, it was a completely different Cincinnati Bengal team. So I liked the way he was going about his business. He was throwing the ball with conviction. He knew who he wanted to target. And, they had more time. They probably win that game. So now they're going to play Pittsburgh. And Mike Tomlin, if you saw his comments, he was not happy that Joe Flacco was traded to Cincinnati. He knows that Joe Flacco knows his team. In fact, last year when he was playing for Indianapolis, he relieved Anthony Richardson mid-game. He threw a pair of touchdowns to help his team beat the Steelers. And you just got to think that he knows them from playing in Baltimore, Cleveland this year, knows them inside and out. So this is a tough matchup here for Pittsburgh, I believe. And also what we're finding out is teams don't want to blitz Joe Flacco. Packers didn't want to blitz him last week, and I think you're going to see Pittsburgh not blitz him here. And 5.5 points at home. I know Trey Hendrickson is a game-time decision, but like I said, I think the Bengals offense and probably the team just believes in him, even the coaching staff. So, I know he's only been there a little over a week, but guy just seems to get it. And I love his leadership, and his arms still look strong here. So I'm going to take the 5.5 points here on Thursday night. Take the Cincinnati Bengals. I think they can win this game straight up 24-20. Wrong team favored. Cincinnati Bengals plus the points on Thursday night.
And when you look at, Lee, the Bengals' schedule, what they've had to deal with, Minnesota's very good, and I understand they had a couple defensive touchdowns in that game. Denver, obviously, is a good team. Detroit, elite. Green Bay, borderline elite. That's what you face the last 4 weeks with a second-string quarterback and then a third-string quarterback, in a sense. I mean, with Flacco, the third quarterback you brought in. But, Cincinnati's not losing to the Jets and Carolina and the Dolphins and teams like that. They played really good teams recently.
And also Pittsburgh, let's be honest. A couple of their plays, couple of their big plays. I'm not saying they've been lucky, but maybe some missed tackles, things like that. Everything that could go right's been going right for the offense. And Pittsburgh still doesn't have a second receiver. That's it. They got one guy. They got a pretty good tight end. That's it. Other than that, we might see Pittsburgh struggle here on offense tonight.
And 2 of the wins came against the Jets and the Browns. So, I mean, it's not like and I don't want to take away from them, but just stating the facts. And the Patriots turned the ball over a ton in the game in New England, and we see New England is not as bad as we thought. So, really, you're trying to find that big win Pittsburgh has. I mean, this would be a nice win on the road tonight for them, but, you still got a lot to prove coming up. They have a tough schedule, Pittsburgh, after this game tonight. So, the Bengals, Lee has tonight, wrong team favored, taking that one in the NFL. So with that being said, Lee, with a lot of college football now back in action, we saw the last few nights now continuing, and up week 7. What do you have at Paramount Sports?
Well, we had hundreds of people take advantage of our NFL 5 for 55 this year. In fact, the last 4 weeks on this promotion put out 5 games on Sunday, usually ready by Thursday morning. We have gone 5-0. 5-0, and I'm sorry, I only went 4-1 last week. We're 19-1 on the 5 for 55 promotion. So we've expanded, have a new name for it. It's called Lee's NFL Sunday Golden Ticket. 5 selections every Sunday for the next 4 weeks, $197. We'll text you the plays. You'll get them on Thursday. And if you want to get them through the end of the season, save even more through, I think it's Sunday, January 4th, 12 weeks, just $497. So been red hot in the NFL, knocking down picks left and right on Sundays. So you want to hop on board Lee's NFL Sunday Golden Ticket, 4 weeks, $197, 5 selections every single Sunday, or for the season, $497. Baseball continues. All our selections through the World Series, $97, or the player props through the World Series, $97, and UFC card. That's right, UFC from Vancouver. 7 selections, including a rare 40 to 50 unit max wager, just $37. Just one place, ParamountSports.com.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Locked On Bets, as well as subscribing to the podcast version of this show on Spotify, on Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. We'll be back with you coming up on Friday. A lot of football to get to on Friday, so looking forward to that with the NFL and college card. For Lee Sterling, I am Kevin Rogers. Thank you so much again for tuning in to another edition of Locked On Bets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network.